What's up, guys? Zarek here. Look, it's late over here, but I can't sleep before I record this video. I feel like it's really important to talk about, even though this video is going to go up tomorrow. Tanner posted this tweet today regarding Set 10. If you guys don't know Tanner, he's sort of a liaison between like the Chinese and North American TFT scenes. He talks about like what is going on in Chinese communities and that kind of stuff. He said, "This might make TFT devs very unhappy, but community feedback says they don't like Set 10. The main reason is Set 10 requires very strong skill of competitive decision-making, positioning, itemization, pivoting, chosen, but with restriction and augment." And then he posted this screenshot, which is all of the TFT sets rated out of 10, and these are like the ratings, I guess, and Set 10 as a 3.2. Set 6, 9.5, Set 7, 7, Set 4 really high, Set 8 quite low, and 9 kind of low. But this is the lowest ranked set of all time, even lower than Set 2. I'm going to drop this, put this dish soap bot in the background for you guys to watch so that, you TikTok-addled brains can, still exist. But I just want to talk about this, so it's not going to be a traditional VOD review. It's going to be one of the more talky videos. Let's go through the rest of Tanner's thread. I'm just going to read aloud what the rest of his thread is. I'll have it in the description below if you want to read it for yourself, but I'm going to read it word for word here so we can see where we're coming from. "Seems like Riot doesn't know that there's a huge TFT player base in China that only goes for entertainment. They go for 3-star, 4, 5 cost and econ traits every single game. They have biggest viewership in China. Set 10 has made their TFT stream unfun to watch and lost many audience. Content creator group for casual and entertainment TFT players is now doing feedback to Tencent, so they will tell Riot what's happening in China on such a competitive set. But I'm convinced that, besides some balancing job to do, econ leveling intervals, or issues to solve, most TFT players and devs are now very confident and satisfied with Set 10 in many aspects: music, unit design, fun augments, effects, and more. It makes sense to me. Again, this thread is a hot take. It doesn't mean TFT is bad for everybody. Some like it and some don't. That's how the world works. I'm just showing the parts and why some people are not a fan of it. I'm going to introduce a background. Most Chinese people work around 9 to 12 hours per day from Monday to Friday to Saturday. That's why they don't have much time to frequently improve their skills and enjoy TFT, which has gotten more and more complicated." So let's just start with this idea that Chinese players or a large number of Chinese players, I'm sure there's Chinese players that love this set, but a large number of Chinese players are dissatisfied with Set 10. And, this is just what Tanner posted. I don't have the full picture. I obviously don't speak Chinese and don't, live in China and exist in these communities online or in person. So I don't know if there are any people outside of North America, because that's the perspective that I know the most, who want to give their opinion, whether it's China or Europe or, Australia or anywhere else. I would love to hear what the rest of the world thinks about Set 10. But starting from this base idea, China doesn't really like Set 10 because it's just too complex. I guess we can start with just base. I love Set 10. I am having a blast at Set 10. I'm actually going to read a tweet from Bryce Blum, who, if you don't know, is a very prominent member of the TFT community. He's on Frodance podcast a lot. He's casting a lot. He quote tweeted that thread and said, "This thread is so scary. I totally see why casuals would be turned off by Set 10. This set is super hard. But personally, I've been waiting for TFT to feel like this again for 1.5 years. Set 7 and 9 just weren't that fun. I'd be so sad if TFT needs to be like Set 7 and 9 to keep casuals, especially China, engaged. Riot will have to prioritize this huge part of the player base. I'm just not sure how to find the middle ground." And that's what's scary. So let's start off with Set 10. I'm having an absolute blast in Set 10. I'm barely into Set 10 at all. I haven't played as much as other people. I'm only 30 games into Set 10. Just finished a stream where I had a great time. But, felt like I could have played, like, there's so much room for skill expression, which is what I love about Set 10. Every game I bought forward in Set 10 so far, I've been like, okay, I obviously could have played this game a million times better. And that skill expression is so nice, especially coming from a world, Set 9, Set 8, where sometimes you would play a game, you would lock yourself in at 2-1 into a line, and then you wouldn't hit on that line, or you would hit bad items for that line, and you would say, what am I supposed to do here? There was nothing, like, I had almost no agency over the game. I picked my augment at 2-1 and tried to play the line to the best of my ability, but like the most skill expression I had was knowing what augments are broken at like 3-2 and 4-2 with this comp, or what items are broken in this comp. And to me, that's not really what TFT is. To me, TFT is this Set 10 free-form jazz, and I mean, jazz is a trait, but also just like jazz. People used to talk about Super Smash Bros. Melee as jazz, how, like you would create your own combos. It wasn't like Street Fighter where, like you would, you would just like always, oh my god, I can't believe Dish won this fight, by the way. You know, you would say like, okay, it's always quarter circle into this, and then you hit him in the air and do this. You know, like a game like Super Smash Bros. Melee, which is a complete aside, but I think it's a good analogy to TFT, where you're always like making your own combos. You hit a guy and it sent him in a weird way, but then you know, like run up and you up air, and it's just constantly adjusting to the conditions of the match. And I think that's what TFT is at its best, constantly adjusting. Oh, I hit this item, okay, maybe I can pivot into this other comp. I hit this augment, I can pivot into a different comp. I hit this, you know, this set, I hit this chosen unit, this super fan. You know, like I'm thinking about the game where I was angling for an AP comp. I had 2 Sennas or 3 Sennas or something, and then I had a chosen Senna, and I said, okay, well, I'm just going to pivot into Senna reroll from here. That was so cool. That was so cool. Changing my game plan on the fly based on what I receive in the game. I think that's what TFT is at its best. And for that reason, I love 10. I think 10 is the promised land. I was talking about this as well, but on Frodan's podcast at the beginning, or like when set 10 was on PB, he said, you know, we've walked through the desert for so many years, you know, set 7, set 8, set 9, all these sets where like flexibility was so low, where, you know, we were barely playing TFT, and finally we've reached this oasis that we can drink from in the desert, the promised land. We've reached this beautiful TFT set, and so many people love it. And so this thread is really scary to me, because all I want for TFT is for every set to be set 10. Set 10, but, you know, like, oh, the new set mechanic. It's not music, it's set 10, but it's dinosaurs, and at the start of the game, you know, your dinosaur hatches out of its egg or something like that. I don't know. But, you know, like, this level of flexibility is so fun and so good, and just, yeah, and the set's balanced really well. Like, set 10 is just beautiful, and I think that's what's so scary about this thread, is because set 10 has been so good so far that the idea that we might lose that is really scary to me. So that's where I want to start from. Now, I do want to say, I can see why some players would feel like this, and I think Tanner did a good job of explaining it when he talks about, you know, a lot of these TFT players, a lot of casual TFT players, they have full-time jobs, so, you know, they work for 8 hours a day, and, you know, maybe they get off their job, they go to the gym, they come home, they cook dinner, they sit down, and they have like 2-3 hours to play TFT. They don't want to figure out how to play 10 different branching lines from this comp. They want to walk into the game and say, all right, this game, I am going to hard force Demacia from, I'm going to take Urf and then hard force whatever comp I get with this spat. And I really like Zaun, so if I see a Zaun emblem, I'll take it and hard force Zaun. You know, that's what a lot of people want from TFT, is be able to hard force a line and just have as much fun, and just have fun, you know, hard forcing the line in that way. And so I understand that, especially from a casual player base, who, you know, like people who are not that invested in the game, they don't have that much time. They just want to have fun, play their comp that they enjoy, and, you know, be done. That's why Legends, I think, you know, Mort and other members of the TFT dev team talked about this. Legends were a hit with casual players. That's why they so badly wanted to make Legends work, is because they're great for casuals. If you're a casual player and you want to play, you know, a reroll comp that uses blue buff JG, you pick Twisted Fate, you load into the game, and you take Pandora's items, and you look for your blue buff JG. And then you play your multicaster reroll, and you're like, yes, oh, it's so fun. Yes, I love multicasters. Or, you know, if you want to play, say, a reroll comp, you know, you take your Lee Sin, you take your early trade sector, and you just reroll, and you reroll, and you reroll, and you get to play that. So I understand this perspective of casual players. Like, I understand that this is why people potentially don't like set 10, is oh my god, look at this Lux, by the way, what a beast, actually. This is why I can understand that perspective of why people don't like set 10. So we have these two conflicting ideas, right? We have the people who really want to, you know, like hard force certain things and play like kind of a low skill almost version of TFT, and you have those like really engaged competitive people who want to play the high skill version of TFT that, you know, like the game's really difficult, but you get to express your skill really hard. You get to play this game, you know, just in a really cool way, I would say. So I understand this sort of like tension between the two, and so that brings me to the future of TFT, because what are we going to do after set 10? I would love to hear more talk about this, but what's set 11, set 12, set 13 going to look like if this set is really just absolutely like terrible for the casual player base? If the casual player base hates set 10, then what do future sets of TFT look like? There are a number of different ideas. I think I saw a really interesting tweet by Fears Me, who's another like TFT community member, generally like high elo player. That commented on Bryce's thread and said, "You think there might be a possibility of the Spatula game, which is Fight for the Golden Spatula, the Chinese mobile version of TFT, that's very, very popular. 4 people from that qualify to a qualifier to go to the World Championship. I think 3 out of 5 of China's world reps, they have 5 reps, right? 3 of their reps were mobile players, so there's a huge, portion of the Chinese community. You think there might be a possibility that that game and TFT diverge due to the difference in desired gameplay experience?" And then Bryce said, "I could see it." So that's really interesting, right? What if there were 2 TFTs? Because so far, I've only really heard this perspective espoused from the Chinese TFT community. I haven't really heard a bunch of like NA. I think 99% of people in NA that I've seen are absolutely just head over heels for this set. They absolutely love it, and they're saying this is the best set of all time. It's absolutely beautiful. So I wonder if there is some kind of way to sort of separate the Chinese and the North, or just and everywhere else, TFT communities, and you say, okay, we make Fight for the Golden Spatula for China on mobile, and if you want to play this type of TFT, then you can play that Fight for the Golden Spatula, and then everyone else, North America and otherwise, can play this version of TFT, like the set 10, and we just keep, reprinting set 10, but slightly different every set. I could see that. I do think it's a little bit weird, especially if we're going to have a world championship, especially if, say, like Fight for the Golden Spatula qualifies for the world championship, and we have this like really weird, there are people qualifying playing almost an entirely different game. I think that's a bit odd, but it wouldn't kill me if, so if mobile players qualify to Worlds, and like, if they get destroyed because their game's completely different, that's fine. Or if they pop off because like somehow they're beasts even though they're playing a completely different game, like that's all right. I would be fine with that. I would be a little bit surprised because I feel like that would take a ton of resources, but China's got a lot of resources, right? So, maybe we separate the two. The other thing is like, maybe there's some way of finding like a middle ground between these two. So, you make the set flexible, but you leave enough room for the casual player base. This is actually what I think Riot wanted to do with Legends, and they just missed the mark on it a little bit, and it left a really sour taste in everyone's mouth, and it's why people are like, please don't bring back Legends. But if Legends had been what they set out for, which was the version of the Legend, the Legend augment is always weaker than like the normal type of augment you would get offered at that same stage. If that's what Legends were, I think Legends would have been fine. If the optimal Legend to play in tournament was Poro for the entirety of sets 9.0 and 9.5, then I think people would have had no issue with Legends. The problem is they had a lot of trouble balancing them. Stuff like Latent Forge being one of the best silver augments in the game, Pandora's items being incredibly broken, like the silver Bard augment being broken for a little while. Those made Legends really, really not palatable to the competitive player base because they killed competitive play, even if casual players liked them. So I wonder if, Riot has said they want to bring Legends back, and I know a lot of people aren't excited about that, but what if they bring Legends back, but they actually balance them correctly this time, to the point where Legend augments are way, way weaker than, regular augments at that level. I think that could be a nice sort of like olive branch for players who are not competitive players and want to be able to hard force and do stuff like that. In that way, they can still hard force the comps they want and play for those types of things, but it's not optimal. That's what Legends always should have been, and that's what, hopefully they could be if we got to that type of balance. I think that's an interesting like possibility, and I think definitely something that like could happen. And I think Riot's definitely looking towards that, like they said. They're thinking about potentially bringing Legends in. The other option, which is a funny one, but a very real one, is like maybe get good, like maybe suck it up. Like if you want to play bad TFT, you shouldn't be rewarded for it, and that's life. Like there's no reason why you can't play bad TFT this set. If you want to hard commit to your set or hard commit to your comp at 2-1 this game, you can do that. It's just not very good in set 10, and it should never be optimal to do that. So that's the other perspective, is maybe you just say, suck it up to to this sort of like large base of the community that wants, you know, this type of gameplay, and wants to be able to take this, like maybe you just say, sorry, buddy, like you're not going to be able to do that. It's not going to be optimal TFT. I obviously, as someone who wants to play competitively, I think that's something that could be done, and something that, you know, like doesn't sound that bad to me. Like, you know, maybe we could just tell that type of person and like those members of the community to suck it up and like get good, and, you know, don't expect to win if you're going to play bad, quote unquote, TFT. But I understand that, like, you know, you need both. Someone in my Twitch chat actually, like earlier before when I was streaming today, said, you know, like, I really hope they don't cater too hard to the casual audience. You know, so many games have ruined their games because, you know, the competitive audience are your most dedicated players. If you just cater to casuals, then you lose your most dedicated players. Those are the people that are playing all the time. Those are the people that make the competitive scene a reality, especially in a game like TFT, where it has such a vibrant competitive scene. You know, it's like so fun to be a competitor in TFT. It would suck to lose that. The alternative, though, is that you can't lose the casuals either, right? You can't lose the competitive side, but you can't lose the casual side either. If you lose the casual side, you lose a huge portion of the player base. So you can't really lose either. So at the end of the day, you have to find something that's palatable to both. I wonder, like, I would love to hear the perspective of more like Chinese players and just like more players in general. And I'd love to hear from like Mortdog what the sentiment is about this set, just like globally, because I mean, my biggest hope is that this is just exaggerated, right? Maybe this one website has a bunch of naysayers on it, and in general, like, the set is liked in China. I would really, really hope, like, that's the super copium take, is that actually, like, this isn't even that big of an issue, and that, like, the set's liked enough in China that it's not a huge problem. I don't know if that's realistic, but I don't know. That's absolutely what I hope. We'll see if that's actually the case. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in this video. I guess we can watch the rest of the Dish Soap pod, because we're, I mean, this is a pretty cool board that he put together. This Sona attack speed carry board with TF proccing it, and like all these units proccing it a lot. He just found Blitzcrank 3. Wow, wait, that's actually, I didn't know he could even. Oh yeah, there are only 5 out of the pool, so yeah, he can get it. It has to be more than half, right? There were 5 out of the pool. So yeah, you can get it with 5 out of the pool. I thought someone told me you couldn't, but I'm pretty sure that's a lie. It has to be, as if there's half in the pool, you can get it. It's just more than half are out, I believe. And if 5 are out, then you can still get it. But yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say about this. I don't know. I think that's mostly what I want to say. Yeah, I really love set 10. I absolutely hope. Like, I mean, even just this game that Dish Soap played, like, what a cool game that Dish Soap played that I just have. I almost left a That's Jazz Baby game playing in the background, but I feel like that wouldn't make too much sense considering, you know, what we're talking about here. But yeah, like, I love TFT. I think it's a beautiful game, and like, I feel like for so many of the recent sets, we've gone away from what makes TFT beautiful, what makes an absolutely astounding great game of TFT. And I really, really want to, you know, stay with that. You know, I want to continue to be able to express my skill so hard, and to say, like I said, you know, in a lot of my games recently, if I bought for the game, I know it's because I made a mistake. There are no games where I feel like I have no clue what I could have done differently. And like, even if I'm like slightly like, okay, I'm not sure what I could have done differently here. I know that like there was obviously, so like there are no games where it feels like, oh, the game was just out of my control. I locked in my comp at 2-1 and I bought forward, like GG's. Like there's no games like that now, which is so insanely good. And I'm so hyped to watch competitive for this set, right? The Vegas LAN, which I'll be competing in, will be so fun to watch other people play in. Worlds this year, North American regionals, all those kind of things, I feel like are going to be so incredible. And like maybe that, you know, as I'm just sort of talking stream of consciousness here, I'm getting to like another point, which is like maybe that is the stuff that will save this set. If there's any kind of doubt, if this should be the future of TFT, watching Worlds this year and watching regional competitions like at the highest level, I think is going to be an absolute treat, and is going to show why this type of TFT is so just incredible. So I think maybe that's another maybe just cope, but I think it's actually quite reasonable that once people see these competitions and see how skill expressive the set and how beautiful TFT can be when it's skill expressive, I think they will know that like we can't go back to previous sets. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is a big talky video, and I know a lot of people like interacting with this kind of stuff, and like it's really fun to hear you guys perspectives on this kind of stuff. So yeah, let me know. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.